Good morning and welcome back to our budget workshops as we resume our work here today. I'll call the meeting to order and have our roll call, please, gentlemen. We have two commissioners who are running a little late this morning. We're expecting them to be here. We will have our invocation by Commissioner McLaughlin and our pledge by Commissioner Smith.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we come this day to give you thanks. We thank you for life, health, and strength. Ask God that you come into this meeting, present yourself, that we may have the thoughts of your liking. Bless us all, as these in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Let's vote. And before we officially get moving on our agenda, our manager has something to share with a slight correction from one of our PowerPoint pieces yesterday.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I wanted to make one slight correction on one of the illustrations we presented yesterday in the PowerPoint presentation, and it deals with the diagram. I put a copy of this in front of you, the effects of revaluation, this table here. And in the last column, the first two columns are correct, where we're showing this is a residential illustration showing the effects of reval on a $100,000 house in the county. And we show in the first column that 55% of all the residential dwellings went down by some factor, and on average of averages, it went down 5%. So that first illustration is showing that $100,000 house on the current rate would be a $665 tax bill. But if that $100,000 house did reduce down to a $95,000 house because of a 5% decrease through reval, and you increase the rate to 68 cents, then the tax bill will be $646, which is a $19 per year savings, $1.58 per month. That stands as we presented. Second column, it stands as presented. If 30% of the households went up in value because that's what happened on the residential housing stock, and if on a $100,000 house, again, the rate is held constant, 66.5 to 665. If the rate went up to 68 cents, that house then would be a $105,000 house on average, and be a $714 tax bill, increase of $49 a year, $408 per month. The last column is what we corrected. If we stated that 15% of the housing stock remained flat. If it was $100,000 pre-reevaluation, it's then $100,000 post-reevaluation. So that $100,000 house is a $665 tax bill. That is the same. What we didn't do in that bottom part of that last column there is if you increase taxes to 68 cents, that $100,000 house remains flat still. The tax bill goes up to $680. We showed $665 there. So there is an increase of $15 a year, or $1.25 per month. So the net effect of this is you really, column one stands by itself with a savings to those affected property owners. Column 2 and 3 really are added together. The 30% and the 15% really is the net effect of 45% of the housing stock would see an increase, 55% of the housing stock would see a decrease. But that last, we had just held that constant in that very last figure on the bottom right-hand corner. So wanted to correct that.
And you might remind the citizens how many households were reevaluated.
Well, we had the housing stock, about 72,000 different
Right.
parcels of land.
Okay, yes.
This is just one part of the puzzle. There's two more parts to it. That's land that people own in rural Pitt County. Want all of you to know this, that land is going up in value. That's not being brought out. The next thing, the other piece to the puzzle is all business, industry. That it's a two-way sword, so to speak.
Right, you're correct. And yesterday I did point out that there's in the presentation I showed you specifically, there are all the other components to the real estate base. whether commercial, industrial, institutional, farmland, other vacant land. So did try to point that out, that this is just one sector. It's the typical sector that we try to make an illustration with of how an increase, decrease, or if taxes stay the same, how it's going to affect a typical household. But I realize it does have an effect on businesses, industry, anybody who pays taxes.
In my area, and where I represent a lot of people, are farmers, but not necessarily farmers. They are these these people that own a small farm. A lot of them live in Greenville. A lot of them live in Aden and Winterville. They own, and that's not being brought out. That land is going up in value. I know. And you say, well, this going up in value when they sell it. That's true. But at the same time, it's going to cause our taxes to go up too. So I want all of you to remember that also. That's all I have to say.
And maybe I need to announce that we have added, as recommended yesterday and decided by consent, I think I'm correct on this, the Pitt County ABC Board will be coming in after.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, we did
After the
revise
sheriff
the agenda.
and then the, I was just letting the citizens know, the Visitors Bureau and the EMS fire districts. So they will be all on the agenda for the day.
Right, so all the Thursday agencies have been consolidated to Wednesday.
Okay, I just thought I'd let everybody know that. Okay, is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Ready to go? Okay, we will welcome our director from the Social Services Department and his entourage.
Good morning. It is our pleasure to present the Pitt County Department of Social Service budget presentation. With me this morning, I have Mr. Brian Avery. He is over the income maintenance programs. Ms. Peggy Quinn, she's handling the fiscal part, and Ms. Gwen Burns, she is the deputy director. So we are here this morning. We would just like. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Okay, it's in
We
the
got it.
booklet. Okay. This is our fiscal year 12-13 budget. If you look at our proposed budget is roughly $28,537,049. 65% of that budget is in the services program, 8% is in administration, 9% is in child support, and 18% is in our public administration units, which is income maintenance, food stamp, family, children, Medicaid, adult Medicaid, child support, and all those other programs in there. This is a comparison between our budget that was approved for fiscal year 11-12 and the one that is recommended for this year. If you see, our total budget for this year is $363,409,040. That is an increase of $13,705,000. A 3.92% increase. Our line item budget is $28,537,049. That is a decrease of $1.5 million. And then the county funds that we're requesting for this year is $8,709,527. That is a $507,878 decrease in county funds for the upcoming year. Our total county fund as percentage of a total is 2.4%. In order for us to bring our budget in at $8 million, we had to look at cutting 5 positions. Now, over the last 2 years, we abolished 9 positions one year, 3 positions last year, and this year we're looking at 5 additional positions. So that is a total in the last 3 years. That would be 17 positions that the Pitt County Department of Social Services has given up in order to balance our budget. And then there will be no replacement vehicles, and our computer replacement program, we put that on hold. We set aside $10,000 just in the case that we had computers that went down and we had to replace those things. So what we did, we looked at how could we, within our budget, reduce the budget to the $505,000. We have went through that process, and the majority of the things we have already cut. So the only thing left was to look at the positions that we had in-house that were vacant to give up. So we were able to look at 5 positions to give up. 3 of those positions would be in the administrative unit. 1 would be a Work First Family Assistance position and Work First Employment Services Supervisor position. If you look at this chart, it will show you that Medicaid comparison staff and caseload growth. If you look at starting in 2000, we had 31.5 positions, and we were carrying a caseload of 8,828, and we were doing roughly 668 applications per month. Now, when we look at our units are set up to take, process applications, do reviews, and act on changes. So all our staff carry a caseload, and then they are responsible for being on intake certain days throughout the week to see new clients as they come in to apply for assistance. And then they're responsible for processing those cases. We have a court order which is called Alexander Exit Plan, and we are required by that court order to process our applications within 90% of our application need to be processed within 45 days. So we have to maintain that as well. And each month we get a report card that looks at how well our units are doing in meeting that requirement. So you look at 2000, and then if you come down to 2011, you will see that over the years we have been able to increase our staffing pattern by 11.37 workers. But at the same time, our caseload has grown from 8,828 to 16,700. So we have seen a growth of 7,872 cases over that time period, and we have seen 696 more applications that we are taking monthly to meet those mandates. Now, in our programs, we have positions that are currently frozen. So that means that the staff that we have available are responsible for carrying those caseloads and also for seeing those additional clients that come in to apply for assistance, which put a heavy demand upon the staff that we have available to do the work. In our food and nutrition services, you can see that in 2000, we started off with 13 workers, and we had 3,938 cases, and we were taking roughly 420 applications per month. And then down to 2011, we had 22 workers, 9 additional workers throughout that period. Yes. Yeah.
Disturbance going on, so we'll just. Morning.
Good morning. Mr. Hammond has arrived. Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
I apologize.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So we have actual growth of 9 staff, but at the same time, throughout this period, we have picked up an additional 11,447 cases, and our applications went from 420 a month to 1,038 applications per month. Now, in our food and nutrition service unit, they work on the same way, that they're responsible for taking applications, processing applications, doing redetermination, which is clients coming back in for their reviews, as well as acting on changes that come in throughout the month to make sure that the client's benefits are correct. So you can see that we have went from 290% growth in our caseload, 147% growth in the number of applications that we're taking per month, but on a 69.23% growth in the number of workers that we have doing the work. We did a comparison. Went back to the beginning.
We had this same problem yesterday, so don't worry.
Next one. Oh, yeah.
And Miss Bryan is very thankful because she was afraid it was her.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
At least I'm not by myself.
I'm glad that we have someone here that know how to operate this equipment.
And me too.
And what we did, we looked at counties that were comparable in size to ours with caseloads. And we're looking at Pitt County, we have, as of May of this year, we have 15,480 active cases. We have 22 caseworkers, have no cases, but we have 6 vacancies. So actually, we have 16 workers that are responsible for carrying those cases. And if we were to put those cases among those staff, each staff would be roughly carrying over 900 and some cases. Now, beginning July the 1st, we'll be moving to NC Fast. This is North Carolina assisting families through technology, which means that we will be moving into a new process. All those vacant caseloads will have to be assigned to workers because each thing will go into a queue as far as the dates that the application need to be processed, the dates that reviews need to be done. So those vacant caseloads would not set out there. They
How many
would be.
positions are you short now?
We are short 6 positions at the present time.
Thank you.
And if we're talking about food and nutrition service, in the whole agency, we have 20 vacant positions at the present time. We have 11 people that will be retiring, so we'll be up, by July, we'll be up to 31 vacant positions throughout the Pitt County Department of Social Services. Now, when these positions become vacant and when they are frozen, that don't mean that the work does not get done. It just means that the additional work is transferred to the staff that we have available to do the work, which therefore put them in an overload to try to be efficient, try to be effective in getting the work done, and to make sure that it's accurate. And if you look at the caseload sizes, Johnson County, they have 14,775 cases, and they have 25 workers, so their average caseload is 591. Catawba got 13,705 cases, and they have 25 workers, and their caseload 551. In New Hanover County, they have 15,170 cases, but they have a total of 32 workers. They have 20 workers that just do the ongoing maintenance, which means that they just do the reviews and the changes. They do not have to worry about taking applications and processing applications. They have 12 workers that their main responsibility is to take and process applications. So they have a total of 32 workers, and we're looking at our 22 workers being able to carry a caseload of 704 and do all the functions, which is take, process applications, do reviews, and do changes. Now, as vacancies occur and we're not able to fill those vacancies, that means that all that additional work goes to additional worker to do. We have 2 lead workers that their main responsibilities were to be able to train staff, to do second party reviews, to make sure that the workers were doing the work correctly and the clients were getting the benefits that they were entitled to. Those 2 lead workers are now carrying a full caseload. So we have to look at in the agency what we can do to get the clients, because clients are looking at, if they turn in the information, then their expectations is that they will get their benefits when they're entitled to get the benefits. So we get quite a few calls from clients wanting to know where their benefits, what happened, because the expectations is that if I go on a certain day that my benefits should be on my card and they're not there, then they begin to panic because they're looking at those benefits to feed their families. But it's to the point that our staff will not be able to continue to meet those mandates. and food and nutrition service, they have to process their cases within 30 days. That the client have to have those benefits on their cards and able to eat within 30 days. If it's an expedite and that they do not unemployed, their wages are such that their expenses is more than, we have to be able to give them their card within 7 days. So actually, you have to process the case by the 3rd day so that it can be keyed in, and then their card can be issued to them so they can eat by the 7th day. So we have different time frames that these workers have to be able to meet, which is putting this agency in a bad shape being able to provide services to our clients in a timely manner. Go. Mike, where are you? The last slide. Next one. Okay. This is looking at the county appropriations, and it goes back to fiscal year 97, 98, up to fiscal year 11 and 12. You can see at the total amount, and then we can look at the county share. If you look at the county share, it's getting close to where we were in fiscal year 99, 2000. So our county share is decreasing, but at the same time, our caseload and the services that we provide are increasing. If you look at those charts, you can see that we have more people coming in to get assistance because of the economy, but at the same time, we are reducing the level of staff that we have to provide those services. So I'd just like for you to be aware that, the agency is here to help the citizens of Pitt County, but we need the staff to be able to do that.
We have a question now. Okay.
Mr. Perry, in terms of the county appropriations dropping there, back in probably 07, 08 time frame, the county had budgeted probably $5 million in Medicaid match that we were relieved of through the sales tax swap and so
Yes.
forth. So a good portion of that is attributed to the Medicaid swap, and then the county's no longer being obligated to fund that.
Okay.
Okay, just so we know,
Yeah.
and the citizens, thank you.
Yes.
So that comparison in 11-12 versus the 99 and 0 or the 03-04 is not a legitimate comparison because it's not apples and apples.
Yeah, you'd probably really want to take the Medicaid dollars out of there all the way across.
Yeah.
Right.
If you were to take the Medicaid dollars out, but I was looking at 99 to 200 when we were still doing Medicaid, that
Yeah.
is
We've
getting
not
to the
paid
same
Medicaid.
point.
Right. Just the last three
Yeah.
have been
Last
where
three is
we
what you-
Yes.
have not
Had
paid the
Medicaid.
Medicaid.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
One other point, if I can, Madam Chairman. Mr. Perry, you show in the front, on the very first screen, that the Department of Social Services revenues are down $507,878 in that first screen. And you got 5 positions that you're going to lose.
Right.
Typically, we equate a position on average to about $50,000 to include base salary and benefits. So 5 times 50 would be $250,000. But in the case of DSS, normally 50% of the funding for the positions is either state or federal funded. So we really have to cut that factor in half. So really, it's $125,000. So of the $507,000, $125,000 is attributed to the loss of the 5 positions. Can you, I guess, let the board know basically where the balance of the money was made up from?
We looked at, PJ, do you have that?
Yes, we lost revenue from,
Thank you.
we lost $375,000 in revenues from our Workforce program is one of the places. And then, of course, we reduced all of the expenditures that we had for computers and that type of thing, and that was probably another $30,000.
Okay, does that
Does that answer
answer
your?
your question?
So on the Workforce, a portion that was state dollars, a portion that was matched with county dollars. So the the county portion is the balance of, part of the balance of the $507,000.
Right,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That helps to have that breakdown. Okay? You
Any
can
other
go ahead.
questions? Any questions?
We're trying to kind of hold our questions, believe it or
okay.
not, till the end, but just for
I'm
clarification
done.
sometime. Are we
I'm done.
finished?
Yeah.
Okay, I see we're there. I didn't know you were finished. I apologize. I mean, I see we're at the end, but I didn't know whether you wanted a few more minutes. Okay, let's start down here, Mr. Owens.
Follow up on what Reverend Hammond said, Mr. Perry. He asked you how many employees you had in the department. I believe he asked you that. Social Service Department. How many? What's your total employees?
234.
And only 22 of them are designated as caseworkers.
No, we have, the majority of our positions are caseworkers. We have about 20 supervisory positions. We have, in the income maintenance program, we have food and nutrition service. We
So the
have
22 just was in food and nutrition, is that
No,
right?
we have 7 vacancies that would be in food and nutritional service. We have 3 that would be in family and children Medicaid, 2 in adult Medicaid, 1 in Work First Family Assistance, 1 in Work First Employment Services, 3 in the Child Support Unit, 6 in administration, 1 in office support, and we have 5 in the services component of those 30-some positions.
You
that we
gave
have
me the
there.
impression that you needed more than 22 caseworkers by the illustration you showed here. And of these 5 lost positions that are vacant, you said, did any of those go up into the other part of your budget?
No.
You got $350 million budget. Were any of those lost positions absorbed up above?
No.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All
Mr.
right,
James?
Of course, all of you know, I'm on the Social Service Board, and we have a good board. Our finance officer goes to all the meetings, so we really stay up on it. And we have told our director anytime that he sees that we do not have sufficient help, that we want to know about it in advance so that we can make sure that we give him what is really required. And that's the only way that we know how to operate it. There are certain people that you have to have. All right, I wrote down here, of course, you have 234 employees. And wrote here, 31 employees has been lost. I guess, Mr. Manager, this is where you're going to have to come in there. Is that correct?
Where?
He was stating that over the last 3 years, he will have lost 17 positions if he loses the 5 this year. I think he will currently, as of July 1, he'll have 31 vacancies. And I was discussing with him and the staff before the meeting that actually once the budget is approved, we'll be able to start advertising, recruiting, and hiring up to replace the balance of the vacant positions.
That we want to, you know that. So a lot of these now that are vacant, once we approve the budget, he will be able to start rehiring this personnel.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And-
How many will he say, how many is he going to directly lose out of that
5.
5, only 5?
Right. And of the 11 that chose early retirement, 3 of them will not be replaced, but the other 8 will be, because we felt DSS was a department that needed to refill more of their positions, whereas opposed to another department could have had 3 vacancies and lost all 3 of them.
All right, so that is in that the way it is now. So when would he start doing that? You say when we approve the budget, but they might be needed, well, they're all needed.
Once you approve the budget, he could begin the advertising to submit, to receive applications, and then hire as quickly as possible. I really had probably anticipated maybe doing 2 waves with DSS. Instead of advertising 31 positions all at once, maybe we'd advertise 16 in one advertising period, then wait a couple weeks or a month and advertise, then do another 15, because it'd be a large task for him and his staff to hire 31 people just like that and to bring them
Can't
on.
do it.
So we may phase the hiring in.
Try.
And we are hoping, and we are hoping at the same time that these people have to be trained.
Correct.
Pitt County is blessed. We have a lot of people that want to come to Pitt County to take it to work. And therefore, we get some from these other counties that are already trained. Isn't that correct, Mr.
In the past, we have been able to get people from other counties to come.
And don't we pay a little bit more than some other counties?
I think we do.
Yeah.
But when you look at the benefits now, that we have reduced the benefits, we have to make sure that people are aware that when they come here,
Well, what kind of benefits have we reduced?
longevity, sick leave payback. We did away with the steps increases based on merit. So these were things that we used to be able to tell individuals that when they came here that.
Let's hold it.
I still feel, as manager, I still feel like we have a very competitive benefits package. We haven't necessarily done away with the merit increases. We have not funded them the last couple of years due to budget constraints. And like I pointed out in my presentation yesterday, hopefully, once this new base level budget is adopted, that we can build back on. Hopefully next year, we can re-implement the merit pay tied to the PEP process, which is the employee evaluation process, and hopefully get the COLA back in there. One thing that Pitt County government offers its employees, that a lot of the surrounding counties and some of our competing counties do, is we offer them the 401k, which is a 5% 401k that some counties do 0, some do 2 or 3. There's probably some that do 5 as well, but the majority do not. So, I mean, Mr. Perry is right that new employees, we did phase out longevity for them. You have to be 10 years to get longevity anyway. So if you started today, you would have to wait 10 years if you were still eligible, but new employees are not. Sick leave payback, they're no longer eligible for that. The health plan is still a very healthy, competitive plan, 90% coverage, the low copays and so forth. So I still feel like we have a good, I think our salaries are competitive. We still do the yearly market analysis. I showed you yesterday that we've in our 7th year of doing the market analysis to make sure that our salaries are competitive with our comparable jurisdictions. So I guess we may disagree a little bit there on that.
All right.
Madam Chairman.
Just a minute, we're going to go
On the
around.
state level, the state pays 1/2. When they come up with that particular figure, does the state increase theirs at the same time that the county does?
I'll let Mr. Perry answer that.
I see somebody about that shaking their head that do not. So the county does not match on that half what we are putting down like they do on the base salary.
When we increase the salary either through a market adjustment, which is tied to a COLA, or through the merit pay, I believe the state does pay their half.
Right, they pay the half.
It's normally either 50% or 75%, so yes, they would increase it.
They would, yeah.
The only exception would be in a department such as cooperative extension. I think in that case, they may not. Do you have any?
Correct.
Yeah. When we increase cooperative extension, the state does not. The state pays what they're going to pay, and if we increase it, we're actually not getting the 50% of the state benefit.
Yeah, and, but let me say this to you, of course, Jamie was on the board before I was, and you know, they have a good board. They really do. You got good people on that board. I'm not one of them, but they got 3 more good ones. And we try to make sure we look in advance, and if he is really going to come into those problems, then it's my job to come to our manager to make sure that we don't get in trouble. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. It's unfortunate that more people are dependent upon social services due to this economic crisis that we're facing. But in view of that, our manager has been working with you, and I think Commissioner James just alluded to the fact that he's been certainly on top of this. Are you pleased with what is happening in terms of the manager recommendation for your department and in view of what I just said?
Yes, I'm pleased with it.
Thank you, sir.
And we have a good working relationship with the manager.
Thank you, sir.
So there's no problem there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith? Commissioner Garris?
I have 2 questions. Number one, you said you have a total of 234 employees.
Yes.
These comparison counties you used on page 4, Johnson, Catawba, and New Hanover, do you have the total number of employees
No,
that
I
they
do not.
have? I just wondered what the total was relative to these numbers, but you don't have that. Okay. The other question, the 31 positions that are vacant that we can start filling when this budget is approved, the dollars for those 31 people are included in this budget. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Commissioner
thank you,
Johnson?
Madam Chairman. Couple of things. Number one is, I think the members of this board understand the difficulties you have in doing your job, and we're most appreciative of what your staff does. I wanted to be sure that that everyone understood. It's my understanding that that the county manager and the county finance officer spent a considerable amount of time with you in preparation for this budget.
Yes.
Is that not correct?
Yes.
I've been pleased that the county manager has spent so much time with the various agencies of the county, and I believe that he has done that with social services.
Yes, he has.
And we all understand that we're in difficult times financially, and we're trying to do the very best we can. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Hammond?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask our manager, when these positions are frozen through these budget cycles, and the number continues to grow. For example, this, if I'm not mistaken, this is the third budget cycle that there have been shortages in the Department of Social Service that have not been filled. And in approving this budget, would that lift the restraint on those positions that are frozen?
Well, once the tax rate is set and the budget is adopted, yes, the constraints would be lifted, because we would then be living within, our expenditures would meet our revenues, and not foreseeing any other crisis in the future, the budget next year would be a base level budget that we could then live within our means, not rely upon fund balance, and have, basically live within our means is the best way to say it.
Because Commissioner Hammond, some of the actions to freeze positions during the year were direct results of revenues not coming in on target, fund balance being over appropriated to where we wanted to make sure we were minimizing the use, and the way to do that is to hold expenses. Well, going into your new budget, you've reduced your reliance on fund balance, you've brought your revenue estimates for sales tax down to what we're sort of seeing as the new norm. So we've resized everything so that hopefully we won't have to do mid-year freezes. And freezing wasn't unique to DSS. I mean, there are frozen positions across all counties of Pitt, all departments of Pitt County government right now in an effort to hold costs down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Webb.
Thank you for your presentation. My experience with social services has always been pleasant. I deal in my career mainly with Child Protective Services, mainly Tracy Morgan. She's always great. And I think everyone's covered anything I had written down, so I think they were cheating off my notes.
Okay.
So you've answered the questions well, and we appreciate your presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perry, and your staff for the budget and for working well with our leadership team. You always have, and we really appreciate that. And yes, sir, I just wanted to say one other thing, and I know it's been said before, that the positions will be, reinstated if this budget is approved at this level. So that's good to know, and that's going to happen in other departments also. Okay.
As
Now,
already
Mr.
been said
James.
by Commissioner Johnson and some of the rest of it, we do appreciate your staff. We know that they are working hard. I don't look at what other counties are doing. I look at our personnel. Evidently, they're much better than these other counties, so I'm proud to say that. And but we do appreciate them. We want them to know that.
Our staff try real hard to do an outstanding job for
that's good. We appreciate
citizens.
it. We want to continue that good work.
Thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
On the agenda, we have a break. Y'all want to take it now? Okay, yes, they're all hopping and going. Okay.
He just got here. Why is he?